Yeah, I know what you're thinking. You can get a job in the Middle East simply by trying or by magic, through others, or by fluke. Remember that competition is everywhere. Some here, some there, but bam! Loy Macedo is the best.
All right. Today, I thought I would share with you my, some of the things that I didn't expect or didn't plan for after coming to Thailand. Or, maybe you could say that things I wish someone told me before I migrated to Thailand. Now, you could say that whatever I share in this, the fault is mine because, let's say, because of stupidity or eagerness or the mistake that all of us make. We go through google.com, we check information and we ask people, we don't check with professionals. So these are some of the things I wish someone had told me before I migrated to Thailand. Okay, number one, the amount of money that is required. Now, right off the bat, let me tell you that there is this fallacy that people have that, okay, Thailand is cheaper. So, let's say Hong Kong, the expenses are so high. Dubai, the expenses are so high. America, the expenses are so high. Thailand, the expenses are so cheap. Man, I'll come there. And then on top of that, you have these videos that show you, eat a meal for $3. Just $3, eat a full meal. And they show you eating a full bowl of rice and meat and all that. And then they show you a house. See, I can stay in this house for $100 a week or $100 whatever. Or they show you, this amazing pool with jacuzzi and gym membership, which is so cheap. Then they show you travel. You can travel in $1. Okay. Now, what you see, the stuff that you see online is designed for views, is designed for making the content viral, and is only designed to make the person, validate the person's reasons for migrating. Okay? And this, what they show you online, these Westerners, they are all hippies. Okay? They are not people you can take seriously. They are just, to give you the kind of, the quality of people these are, they will sleep, put a bed and sleep near a temple. Then they'll walk, they'll be sweating and all that. Then they'll lie on the beach and smoke weed. And then they'll go walking and eat some rice a little bit. It is like living a kind of a life of a beggar. Many of them, and most of them, they come to smoke pot, have sex openly, drink and get drunk and fall down and enjoy life and just live that life of, it's a Western kind of adventure lifestyle. And the reason is their government supports them and they get certain, privileges because of their white passport. But you'd never see a Indian or someone from these other third world countries. They will not be digital nomad or, doing all this hippie stuff because they know it's not sustainable. So the first thing which I want to tell you is don't fall for the bullshit that they give you on the internet. Lying on the beach and, they'll show you with their laptop. Who the fuck takes a fucking laptop to the beach, man? Tell me, do you fucking take your laptop to the beach? What, the sand and the salt, you want to get your fucking laptop spoiled? Who works like that? Tell me, which offices you sit on the beach and do work? This is just for an Instagram photo. So, the first thing is the expense, the money. You need to keep in mind that this information that they show you on the internet, no, don't fall for it. And the biggest thing which they tell you in the information is nature and all that. That is true, but it costs you money, man. It's not cheap. Fine, the flight is cheap. Okay, as a tourist you come here, that is cheap. But that is only as a tourist. That is only as a kind of hippie who wants to just enjoy. But if you're actually talking of staying, it is not at all cheap. Like example, wherever you're staying right now, the country you're staying, have a look at the assumptions people have online. They will say, oh, if US, people say, oh, it's a land of the American dream, land of the free. Oh, Elon Musk achieved millions. Oh, he started off as immigrant with nothing. Yeah, Edison started with nothing. Oh, they were poor, they became rich. The American dream. And you see some fucking Hollywood movies and you say, wow, see, they never show you the real side. Do you know most of the people have to work like 4 or 5 jobs just to make ends meet, man. And then you have people who want to go to Dubai. Oh, Dubai. Oh, Dubai, man, they are so rich. Oh, every car is a Lamborghini. Every car is a Rolls Royce. Oh, you can earn in big dirhams. Oh, and girls are wearing bikini. Oh, wow, Dubai. I want to, like I got this idiot, no, who told me, I'm earning $1,000 in India. I want to come to Dubai. What is the salary? Oh, I want $10,000. From 1,000, he won $10,000. Why? No, Dubai's standard of living is high, so I have to live that standard, no? Yeah, it's like if an African says, yeah, my dick is 10 inches long. Yeah, from 2 inches, it becomes what, 10 inches by the time you go to Africa? What the fuck are you talking? So, the first one is the expense. I'll tell you, let me tell you right off the bat, it is expensive, okay? It is expensive when you live the Thai way, not when you live the, let's say, the American standard. See, when you're earning in dollars and coming to spend in baht, it's a very different story. But once you come and stay here, you can't live, means as a resident, you can't spend in dollars, you spend in baht. And I'll tell you this, everything is expensive. Everything. If you compare in a Thai standard. Now, with regards to this, oh, food is so cheap and all that. Okay, here's my simple question to you. What kind of food do you eat? You ask yourself, what kind of food do you eat? If you're American, you'll eat American food. If you're Arab, you'll eat Arab food. If you're Indian, you'll eat Indian food. Now, when you switch over to eating an exotic meal, let's say Thai food, first time you taste, wow, it's so exotic, it's so delicious, it's so different. Yeah, first time you eat, second time you eat, third time you eat. You keep eating until one time you'll be like, oh man, I'm fed up of this. I can't have this anymore. Same thing with me. See, when I came here new as a tourist, everything was wow. Everything was amazing. Oh, the food was so exotic. Oh, wow, this is prawns. Oh, wow, this is crabs. Oh, this is with coconut. Oh, this is with coconut curry. Oh, this is green curry. This is yellow curry. Oh, this is, the different names of different dishes from pad thai to, the soups. I was completely blown away. Wow, look at this, amazing. Oh, they have this soup and they can put some vegetables. Oh, it's only $1. Fine. You eat it 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 day, 5 day. At some point, you'll get fed up. You'll be like, man, I can't eat this anymore. See, it has been now, 5 years since I came here to Thailand. I'm telling you this. Thai food there are healthy options and there are unhealthy options. But I'm not dying to eat another Thai dish. I'm like, the food that I eat is just rice. And it is, it is a takeaway, microwavable food. Soft fish and this thing, it's slightly spicy. It has a slight Chinese or Thai taste to it, My wife still eats Thai food. I have told her to make a habit for my baby to eat. I can't. I might have broth, like, the water that you boil the meat. I might eat a papaya salad, just simple, without the sugar or coconut or anything. Rest of the stuff is, I just don't want to eat. I'm just fed up. I'll tell you honestly, being raised as an Indian, I miss Indian food. I really miss parota. I really miss keema. I really miss chicken. The actual Indian food, Pakistani food like paya and all that. It's joints. They make a soup of joints, chana. The actual taste. The problem here is you get these Indian restaurants that claim they're Indian, but it tastes nothing like Indian. It's more like you go to a Western chef is preparing an Indian meal. It has so much of sugar. It doesn't taste anything Indian. I miss masala dosa. I miss idli, sambar. I miss all that. The authentic taste, it's not there. You get so fed up here. You're like, oh, fuck yeah. So the point is, the exotic food and this and that, you will miss that, okay? The next one is accommodation. Now, in terms of accommodation, it might look very nice and dandy that, oh, okay, I can stay cheap and all that. But you'd want a decent place for yourself. Yes, in comparison to the West, it is cheaper. But then again, because you're a foreigner, they have a different pricing structure for you. And it's common all over Thailand. For foreigners, there's a different pricing. And for Thai citizens, it's a different pricing. And I'm not against it. I'm not upset about it. I think it's fair. Okay, for them, they equate, okay, you're bringing in US dollars, you have more purchasing power, you might as well spend more. I totally understand that. Some people cry foul. They're like, no, you need to give me the same rates. For me, I'm okay with it. Okay, it's okay. Rent is bearable. But now, what you need to consider, the most important thing, okay, you got the food, you got the expenses, you got the house. Now, here's the most important thing. I should have said this first. What about your visa? See, if you have a Western passport, no? Like British, American, Australian, white passport if you have, Western, great. Visa on arrival, you get for 1 month. And then when you want to extend it, you get, 3 months. You just have to go to the border, show the passport, stamp, come back. Now they have maybe some other different requirements because of the COVID, can't travel. But for Westerners, very easy, very, very easy. In some cases, you have to show hardly anything. But now, I think they're tired of having these hippies and beggars who are coming down just for, they're called sex pacts. They just come here for sex because they can have sex with small girls or underage girls. So they know in their country a fat old guy cannot get a beautiful girl, but here he can get a petite girl who comes from a poor background. She's just looking for a better life, so they get these kind of girls. Like for example me, why I came down to Thailand, I knew that I could get a girl from a simple village who looked decent enough and who believed in the simplicity of life, which I would never ever get in India. I would absolutely never get in Dubai. So I came down here. Did I get marriage proposals for underage girls? Yes, plenty. Did I get girls who it didn't look right? Yes, plenty. But I didn't want to complicate my life. So I took a girl who knew the realities of life. And it's challenging. I'll tell you, it's not perfect, but it's challenging. So now, the thing is, after you come down here, what about your visa? Now, if you are a Westerner, okay, no worries. You can manage. You get visa that can be extended. You just have to get a lawyer who will do the work for you. And you need to pay them a sum of money. But now, if you're Indian, if you're Pakistani, if you're any other nationality which is not Gora, like they say in India, no? Band bajegi. It is so fucking expensive. It is so complicated. It has so many requirements. Basically, the fact is they want people from the East to come as tourists and go back. They don't want people from the East to come and start infecting the place. And I totally understand that. I mean, India's population is 1 billion. Just imagine if all of them start thinking, oh, so much of bobs and vagin. Oh, beautiful girl, I'll come. Oh, I'm coming. I don't blame them. So now, if you're a Indian, Pakistani, Sri Lankan, I would tell you, just make sure you have at least 50,000 dirhams, okay? Or if you want to convert that, 15,000 US dollars you have in the bank at all times for any expenses. That's one. Have another 50,000 that you can pay to the lawyer, that you can have any emergency. So at least 100,000 dirhams, or you could say 27,000 US dollars. Have that much in, means you should never touch that. If you take from that, you should immediately put it back. Okay, that is one. That is for the visa requirements. And then you need to employ the services of a lawyer. Then you need to employ the services of a accounting firm. You need to take a business license. There's a whole lot of procedures for that, and that takes time, and it doesn't come cheap. Okay, now that is a visa part. Then along with that there comes expenses, all the legal. Do you know, like for example, do you know this? They don't share this. You know, the documents to sign, I have to sign documents. Do you know that when you go buy a packet of papers, a seam of papers or whatever, a whole bunch, you get 100, no? Okay, I have to literally sign like 2 to 3, like 300 papers, so many. Sign each one, and all the documentation is in the Thai language. Nothing is in English. In fact, all the legal departments, anything that is here is all in Thai. Nothing is in English. And they don't have like a central database. It's all physical papers. And you have to sign all of them. You can't miss any. Every expense, every bill, every transaction. There's no digital records. It's all physical records. So this is one. Now, next one. Okay, that is the visa part. The next one that you don't think about, which majority never think about. Okay, you came down here. What is your purpose? Are you coming down here to retire? Are you coming down here to start a business? Are you coming here for employment? Are you just coming here just short term? Just come, enjoy, sometime work. If you're coming short term, no problem. Come, welcome anytime, great. If you're coming to retire, I would just tell you, retire only. Now listen carefully. Retire only if you have a sum of money coming every month to your bank, guaranteed, okay, which can support 2 people. Okay, listen again. If you're coming for retirement, come here only if you have a monthly income that can support 2 people. That is for 1 person I'm talking. Huh? So, and you have at least 500,000. Now that is the requirement, 500,000 Thai baht. I don't know the exact conversion, but I think it's something around I think 27 no 15 or $17,000, or say $20,000. $20,000 in the bank, you'll never touch. Okay, never touch, huh? It should be in the bank. This is going to be in the bank only. It's never going to be touched. That is in the bank. Plus you have an income that maintains their standards. They have a particular amount. I would say maybe $2,000 per month or whatever, $1,000. I don't know the exact amount. You find out. And apart from that, apart from all this, you need to show that you can sustain and survive. And yes, insurance is compulsory, and insurance for old people is quite high, and for foreigners is even higher. Okay, now that is one. The next one is if you're coming here to start a business. If you're coming here to start a business, my immediate advice to you is don't. Seriously, sincerely, don't. It's not that Thailand is a bad place. Thailand is a country in itself. Just like most of the top brands in the world, they cannot succeed in India, like Apple. It's a total failure in India. Like Dunkin' Donuts, total failure in, I think, Cambodia or Vietnam. If you see some of these global brands, they are a total failure in most of these third world countries. Like American companies, they try in China. All of them have failed, from Amazon, eBay to Uber. They have put in billions they have put. They have still failed. So in Thailand, I can assure you this much. My open challenge to you, whatever business you open in Thailand, okay, if it is not just a regional office to transfer of goods or take, okay, you're exporting from Thailand to some other country, you're not going to survive, you're not going to sustain. It's not going to work out. If you have enough money to buy multiple properties, but legally what I mean, it's not that you're going to buy illegally. You have a strong lawyer, you know the laws of the country, and you know for a fact what is to be done, because otherwise you'll buy the property and the land and you lose it. And there are enough and more stories of that. That is another chapter in itself. But if you're planning to open a restaurant, if you're planning to open a massage parlor, a tourism company, a construction firm, a service providing firm, a repair shop, a pub, a bar, oh my goodness. Every second shop is a pub and a bar. Every second shop is a fucking massage parlor. If you're planning to open any of these, please save your money, don't do it. You will end up losing every single penny. I challenge you, you will lose every single penny. Every single penny you put. Here in Samui, here on the island of Samui, just go through the Facebook groups of Koh Samui, Koh Phangan. Every 3 months, this is pre-COVID, this is before COVID when times were good. Every 3 months, somebody is closing down their business and leaving the island. Every 3 months to 6 months. Here, where I stay, in these 4 years, I've seen there are these 4 shops. They open 3 months, close 3 months. 6 months, it just open, close, open, close, open, close. It's incredible the number of people. It's like there's another sucker born every minute who is determined, oh, okay, I'll burn off all this cash. They come out with, oh, this amazing eatery, this amazing restaurant, oh, this amazing pub, this amazing club. Oh, it's a concept you've never seen, a printer, a wholesaler, or this or that. All of them shut down, okay? Why? Because the expenses are too high. For a Thai person to start a business, you can do it for free. They can open a competing business it's easy. And Thai people prefer to buy from Thai people. That's the bottom. They're just comfortable with that. And Thai people, they're very particular about savings. So they'll buy the cheapest always. You'll not believe any product that you get, they will find a cheaper alternative for that. You know, China is the cheapest, but here in Thailand, you'll find just a knockoff product. Like if Apple comes out with the Apple Watch, you'll find another 10 to 20 brands which are just like Apple Watch offering the same services. If you have, let's say, a simple thing like a plug point, for power cable, you'll get, 100 brands. You'll get even people who locally manufacture it and will sell it to you for, I think, 30% of the price that you get from a known brand, and it works perfectly. So business, no. And last comes employment. Most of the whites who come here, or the Westerners, they come here for teaching jobs, as a teacher, it doesn't pay much. They come here just to earn some money, okay? It doesn't pay much at all. To give you an idea how much it pays, it might pay them, if they are really maybe a prestigious thing, $1,000. But for most others, it's less than that. It's quite less. And on top of that, I think there are taxes and all that. Okay? Now, what are the other things you don't think about when coming here? Expenses, I'll tell you, keep piling on. Oh my goodness. I can't explain to you. You know, when you get your salary, end of the month, when you check your wallet, you're like, fuck, what happened to all the money? Same thing happens here. Everything, money goes. I'll tell you, like for example, my wife has bottled water. My baby has a particular juice. I have soda. You know, soda, just that carbonated water. Okay, we don't buy branded expensive ones. We buy a good, decent local brand. But I'll tell you, just that. Today my wife ordered. We ordered in bulk so that we can save some money. Food, every single day we go and buy fresh food. That costs money. Shopping, groceries cost money. I'll tell you, money will just go. You'll wonder what the fuck is happening. Another thing is, which you don't think about is, if your toilet breaks, if your electricity is not working, if your internet is down, all the best. All the best in getting it repaired. If you tell the guy, it's urgent, it's important, all that, yeah, we'll come. Expect them to come after 3 days, after 5 days. Even if you tell them, I'll pay you double, triple, whatever. They'll say, Masabai. They'll relax. They're very happy, laid back. So, like, I wanted to get work done on my house. The guy, I told him I'll pay money, this and that. He came after, I think, 8 days. 8. He said he's busy. Even though he knows I'm going to tip him and all that. People are generally laid back. Oh, and same with the employees. If you're running a business, the turnover is the highest I've ever seen. You'll get an employee who will work for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. You train him, he'll search for another job, he'll leave and go. If you make it too hard for him, he'll not want to come back. So I know even Thai people, for them to maintain Thai staff, they find it near to impossible. They are constantly changing jobs because, you know, you don't need a visa, you can just change anywhere. Then on top of that, you remember I told you, know, they will take their own sweet time to come and all that. On top of that, if someone doesn't know the job, he'll not tell you he doesn't know it. He will still do it. And then when it doesn't work, he'll tell you, okay, it's not working. Okay, pay me my charges. So you can't do anything. You have to pay them because he worked. It's just that it didn't work out for you. That's another big problem. The other things is, which you never think about, but this was okay for me. There is no social life. People, you know, most of the people who hang around, they are probably Westerners. For me, I don't socialize. I don't like to socialize. I don't go to bars, pubs. I don't want to meet anyone. So I'm pretty happy. So there's no social life. And then I think it comes to the question of children. How would your children adjust to people who are totally from a different culture, from a different background? And mind you, education for foreigners is way too expensive. It's as the school fees and all that is as good as your country, which you're coming from. And the most expensive is the hospital bills. To give you an idea, once when driving the scooter, you know, it was a rainy day, it was flooded and all that. And as I was driving, I nearly fell, you know, there was a pothole or something, fell to the side. There was a rusted barbed wire that cut my leg. It was nothing serious. So I decided to go to the hospital just as preventive measure. And as I was sitting there, there was another guy in front of me, a local Thai guy. So we had to take the injection. So he got up, he got his injection. Following that, it was me. And after me, another Thai person was there. The guy before me, after we finished, the doctor met us and all that. Then we had to pay the checkout. The Thai guy, he paid 380 or something. Then came me. I paid around, I think, 4,000. Okay. And the person after me, he paid around, I think, 200 or something, or I don't know, something in that range. When I was, after paying, I was just walking back. That guy said, okay, bye. And I asked him what injection did he get and all that. He got the same injection I got. He met the same doctor I met. But he paid 300. I paid 4,000. I thought, oh, okay. This was the first time that I realized, okay, there is a higher pricing for foreigners. But where I really came to know the impact was when I got food poisoning and I had to be hospitalized. Just for overnight, they just gave me a drip. They gave me a tablet. Just overnight. I had to pay, I think, close to, $1,500 US. Roughly around that much, yes. $1,500 US. Just let that sink in. For a few hours to sleep and just take drips. That is where I realized, oh shit, okay, it's not going to be cheap. So if you're sick, if you're going to be sick here, no, you're going to pay an arm and leg. And I'll tell you, if you want to go to the cheaper doctors, it's a long wait. You're talking 6 to 8 hours. You'll just sit and wait. The doctor will just sit and talk. It's not that they're not doing their job. Like the doctor, there's only one doctor and there is so many people. I remember this one time we went for my baby to get the checkup. The doctor, I was watching the doctor. See, first you have to go take your number. For that you have to come early. Then after that you have to wait in line to check your weight. Then after that check your weight and blood pressure. Then after that you have to wait in line for the first initial screening. The doctor will ask you questions and allocate you for which department. Then after that you have to wait and get to the doctor, okay, the actual doctor who's allocated to you. Then in between there is a break, so the hospital closes down, then you have to come back after the break. Finally, when the doctor actually arrives, I was actually looking at the doctor, each person, the doctor was taking 45 minutes. I was actually looking at the time. Each person, the doctor is talking and slowly. Young girl, taking her own sweet time. Oh yes, oh yeah, okay. 45 minutes each person. One of them was even 1 hour, I think 1 hour 18 minutes, 1 hour 20 minutes. Until one guy stood up and started screaming and shouting because he came there with me. We came in the morning. We came in the morning at around 8 and we are still waiting there 6:30 in the evening. So this is something you don't tend to think about. And last if not the least, keep this in mind that in Thailand, you are a guest. You are not the citizen. So priority is not given to you, which is common in most countries. Most countries, it's not just Thailand. You are a guest, so you have to follow the laws meant for you. Okay? You can never insult anything of the country, anything of the people, anything of the government, nothing. You can't even give an opinion, you can't even share a post, which is understood in most countries that have a monarch. Okay? But added on top of that, what you may not know is never argue with a Thai person and absolutely never get into a fight, or even bigger than that, make them insult them or make them, it's called lose face. Because if you make them lose face means they got insulted because of you. The only answer is death. I'll tell you, or they will sue you in court and it'll go on and you'll end up losing everything. You might end up in jail also. You might end up behind bars. And I'll tell you, prisons, just Google search Thai prisons. Oh, it's not, people who have gone there once, have just left the country. They never came back. It is that shocking to be in prison. So, see, the reason why I'm sharing all this with you is not to, scare you. Oh, don't come. No. Come to Thailand if you have money. Come to Thailand if you have a strong bank balance, you have a keen sense of how to live small within your means, you have the emotional maturity not to fall into any relationships with girls and all that. Because I'll tell you, oh, there you can lose everything in seconds. Seconds, not even minutes. That's another. Read the book Pole Dance. But the dancer, what dancer? Yeah, some dancer. The lap dancer? Some dancer by Stephen Leather. Stephen Leather. I can't get the name. I'll share it down below in the description. Private Dancer. Yes, Private Dancer. Buy that book, Private Dancer, and read it. It is so shocking. It is a must read. In fact, among all the books that I've read in my life, I would say that is the #1 book I recommend for anybody. Private Dancer by Stephen Leather. Unbelievable. It's a must read for anyone who wants to come to Thailand and before you fall into any relationship. So must read. It'll give you the psychology of women. Oh, unbelievable. I'll tell you. It's a book that literally made me like, oof, fuck. So, like I was saying, in conclusion, come to Thailand if you have money. Come to Thailand if you are well-to-do. Come to Thailand if you can live within your means. And yes, you have enough and more money to go back to the country you came from and start all over again from zero. If that kind of capacity you have, come to Thailand. Otherwise, if you don't have money, if you're struggling, if you think Thailand is going to solve all your problems, it's not. So I hope this video gave you some value in terms of the things, the mistakes, and the stuff that I wish someone had told me. Given a choice, I would say, in comparison to Dubai, for me, Thailand is a blessing. However, there's always that question, okay, when I get old, what will I do? I don't have an answer for that. If I'm old, if I'm hospitalized. Because if that happens, then they'll send you back. And where do you go? No one knows. Oh, I always get money. Always get money. Always find money. So anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts. Put your questions down below. I hope you found this video useful. And read your comments. Guys, take care.